Thank you so much for tuning in to Camnet TV. Time now for midday news. Traders abandoned MTENDERE East Cooperative Market after UPND CADRES forcefully took over operations. Fake family planning injection lands purported medical doctor in court. In international headlines, forced search underway for 50 women abducted in Burkina Faso. Power losers appeal, ban on fans during home ground marches. We have the details shortly.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, I'm Cholwe from Cho's Fitness Gym. We're a fully functional gym located along Twin Palm Road in Kablonga, right by Cheshire Homes Society of Zambia. So we have various classes that happen from Monday to Friday. We have aerobics, we have boot camp, we have step aerobics, we have spinning, we have kettlebell classes. They happen from 18 to 19 hours every day, and we are open from 06 until 20 hours. That's Monday to Friday. Then Saturdays 6 to 12, and then Sundays we are closed. And most public holidays we are open 6 to 12.
Thank you so much for joining us to present the news. My name is Louisiana Lupumbwe. Operations at Valley View Market, also known as MTENDERE East Cooperative Market, have come to a standstill after cooperative leaders were hounded out of the market by alleged United Party for National Development Kalikiliki ward officials last week. Speaking to Camnet News Tuesday, traders said the market has sewer spillages, no water, and piling ZESCO bills as the new imposed leadership is not solving these problems. A check at the market by Camnet News also found that most toilets have been locked up due to their filthy state, causing open defecation at the market, as cleaners have since downed tools following the confusion. We have details in this report.
This is Valley View Cooperative Market, also known as MTENDERE East Market, where a protest arose Tuesday morning as traders say business has come to a standstill due to the lack of leadership at the market. Upon visiting the place, one is greeted by sewer spillages right next to where food is being prepared. The traders here also say the market has no running water, while ZESCO bills are piling up as there is no one to collect revenue. The toilets here have also been locked up due to being out of use, leaving people to urinate and defecate around the market, as all workers have downed tools for non-payment of salaries. All this has come about after the cooperative market leadership was hounded out of office about 1 week ago by alleged United Party for National Development UPND officials from Kalikiliki ward, leaving no one to collect revenue at the market, as the traders have refused to give levies to anyone not elected into leadership.
We want change. This is a cooperative market. It's not a government market or party market. This is cooperative. Not what they get muntu kumutosa kwina ngwaze chairman. Aribe shop aribe as a chairman. We want votes. Sake watu chairman so makatiazi. Manzi paribe. Bati chairman watu tusante teka isepano.
No makadazi. 10% mutari yense mutate benefit market pan. Bena ngwaibiwa muna kashop kamene akakusa kachasu ata mondalama. Bena ngwaibiwa kazi kashop kamene kakukisa faka mgaiza dapa asunga bana. Manje iwerero so kuti ndio chairman no kuti.
Pa market pa bemanzi pa betoileti ba chairman nao nbolubana. Ni market kwanje amene bantu bazambomvera bwini. Tilanganire mpone kani we need change.
Others say the market also has no security, as even the security guards have downed tools, while the garbage at the market keeps piling up, as there is no one to oversee its collection.
But now
the market has come to a standstill because CADRES have taken over the market, and also the other part is no workers are working. The security part, they've stopped working. The shops are at risk right now.
Not until there is a break of cholera. That's when the government wants to wake up. But we are trying to prevent this kind of a situation whereby people are not suffering from the cholera which is coming. We can see a looming cholera which is coming this time around.
Meanwhile, in a phone interview, Lusaka District Marketeers Cooperative Union Secretary General Moffat Mangoni says the union is moving in to ensure that the leadership wrangles are solved by 18th January 2023. He adds that should they fail to resolve their wrangles, other stakeholders will be involved. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Works on the district road leading to Ngwerere compound and Kalimba farms in Lusaka's Chakunkwila ward have commenced at a price of 108,000 kwacha. Chakunkwila ward 23 councillor Chimuka Njomona says the project has been funded under the National Road Fund Agency and is meant to provide a temporary solution to the bad state of the road, which has been affecting motorists who usually commute the road. The civic leader also says his office and other of the area Member of Parliament have received numerous complaints about the poor state of the road and has assured that once resources are sourced, the entire road will be redone. More in this report.
This district road in Lusaka's Chakunkwila ward, which leads to Ngwerere compound and Kalimba farms, despite its economic importance, has remained a subject of great concern for most motorists who frequently use the road due to its poor state. The bad state of the road has also been affecting most businesses in the area, which has led to members of the general public to call on the area Member of Parliament Mike Imposha to urgently work on the road. And area councillor Chimuka Njomona says temporary measures to patch up the potholes have commenced, and the initiative is being supported by the National Road Fund Agency NRFA. The councillor who was on the site to check on the works has told this reporter that the works will be done at a price of 108,000 kwacha.
Works that we are witnessing today outside the CDF budget, and this is an initiative under the office of the MP and also the initiative under the office of the councillor to speed up works and also to respond to the urgent need that this road be worked on. We brought in Lusaka City Council that did a BOQ, and the budget came to about 108,000 kwacha.
The councillor also says once enough resources are secured, the entire road will be reconstructed to ensure a permanent solution to the bad state of the economic road.
Works that have been done may not be permanent in nature, looking at what is happening now, but we are resolved to make sure that this road is brought back to its original state, where it becomes strong and well accessible by all motorists and road users. However, we brought in the performance contractor, as earlier alluded to. These are best contractors that are within our ward, and they have come on board just to mitigate and to provide immediate alternative to the problem that we've had.
Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A 39-year-old businesswoman has narrated before the Lusaka Magistrate Court how she was left with an amputated left arm following a drug that was administered on her by a man who purported to be a medical doctor. Nancy Musonda has told Magistrate Crispin Hampungani that Shadrach Hangando, who purported to be a medical doctor and called himself Dr. HH, injected an unknown substance on her left arm on pretext that it was family planning. More in this report.
Her story was recently aired on Camnet TV, where she explained how a man who claimed to be a medical doctor administered an unknown substance on her left arm instead of family planning.
Wanawafunza mungapezeke na family planning ya 3 months ate nilinayo nizingati 20 kwacha au bwani muniraseko paja pebana nirasa paja pakwanja pabwa papompeka papanga kwatira ikapute chinabwa cha pompeka che chikulu cha laundi nifuka chepa kliniki cha polika paja pamecha poli kachezo chosava green vonunka demwana wana nilembera emergency.
Now a few months down the line after the story was aired, Nancy Musonda has dragged Shadrack Nkandu to the Lusaka's Magistrate Court for maliciously administering poison with intent to harm. Narrating what transpired on the material day, the 11th of August 2022, the complainant has told Magistrate Crispin Hampungani that she was introduced to Shadrack Nkandu, the accused person, by her neighbor who had informed her that the said accused person was the one administering family planning to ladies in the community who did not want to fall pregnant. The mother of 5 testified that upon being told by her neighbor, she decided to seek the accused service afterward paid him a 20 kwacha. However, few minutes after taking the said family planning injection, the witness says she started feeling bad and later her arm was amputated. Nancy Musonda has told Magistrate Crispin Hampungani that Shadrack, who purported to be a medical doctor, called himself Dr. HH, injected an unknown substance on her left arm on pretext that it was family planning. The matter comes up on the 20th of February 2023. Meanwhile, the accused has denied the allegations before court. He remains in custody. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In our international news, Tuesday marks the return of classes to primary and secondary schools in Malawi's 2 largest cities, following a cholera outbreak that claimed hundreds of lives. After the Christmas break, schools in the capital Lilongwe and the business district Blantyre had been closed for at least 2 weeks. Over 750 individuals have already died as a result of the cholera outbreak, which started in March of last year. Both Lilongwe and Blantyre still have a significant infection rates. Meanwhile, Nigerian leading presidential candidate Peter Obi pledged Monday to rid Africa's most populous nation of endemic corruption and widespread insecurity if he wins next month's election. And elsewhere, security forces are searching for about 50 women kidnapped by suspected jihadists in insurgency hit northern Burkina Faso, a regional governor said on Monday. Here's a roundup of international news.
In Burkina Faso, security forces are searching for about 50 women kidnapped by suspected jihadists in insurgency-hit northern parts of the country. The women were abducted last Thursday and Friday by suspected jihadists, as several others also managed to escape to nearby villages. Burkinabe human rights defender Daouda Diallo expressed his concerns about the kidnapping, terming it a new situation never witnessed in recent months. This is the first time that we have seen an abduction of several dozen women. Sometimes we have recorded isolated cases, but women were mostly able to move around more than men. But today, the situation is worrying, and it is as if this is a new situation today in terms of security that we must take into account. According to local officials, the army and civilian auxiliaries had carried out an unsuccessful sweeps of the area. The abduction took place at Abinda, in an area under blockade by jihadist groups and dependent on food supplies from outside. These extremist armed groups are increasingly militarized, that is, well motorized, with vehicles and often with actors who also wear uniforms to cover their tracks. So these are extremist and well militarized non-state armed groups that are endangering the lives of civilians. Since 2015, Burkina Faso has battled an insurgency led by jihadists affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group that has killed thousands and displaced around 2 million people.
Learning in primary and secondary schools resumed on Tuesday in Malawi's 2 major cities following a cholera outbreak that killed hundreds of people. Schools in the capital, Lilongwe, and the commercial hub, Blantyre, had remained closed for at least 2 weeks after Christmas holidays. The cholera outbreak began in March last year and has so far killed more than 750 people. Infections are still high in Lilongwe and Blantyre. Health Minister said schools now have access to safe water and improved sanitation facilities, which will go a long way in reducing infections reported in schools. Malawi is among 31 countries globally hardest hit by cholera. The widespread cases of cholera in the country are as a result of the aftermath of Tropical Storm Anna and Cyclone Gombe that caused extensive flooding last year and destroyed the country's water and sanitation systems. Speaking at the International Affairs think tank Chatham House in London on Monday, Peter Obi, the Nigerian presidential candidate contesting to lead the West African nation, promised to rid the country of the endemic corruption and widespread insecurity that have stifled its growth.
Securing Nigeria is not impossible. I secured Anambra State as governor. And it won't be different. I've said we will deal and talk with those we will win, we will talk with those who are winnable. It will be carrot and stick. And those who don't, we will deal with them. We're not going to shy away. Nigeria must be secured. It's a country. Every country must be secured. But we are not going to walk away from the problem. We'll deal with it. We have our armies and military used to secure Africa.
Obi said it would open dialogue with secessionists in Nigeria's southeast and introduce a range of security reforms to protect lives, especially in the troubled north region where thousands have been killed by armed gangs.
The starting point is to recognize that the absence of peace is largely an economic factor because people don't have outlets for opportunity. They are easy recruits for people with all kinds of untoward goals. And so to get the economy right, first talk to all the stakeholders, engage them appropriately, and when the engagement doesn't work, you show the force of the authority of the state.
Government needs to be more involved in the education of the, and not only that, to provide jobs, to encourage investment from, say, the UK and other nations of the world who have an interest in the development of the nation, because the potential is dazzling, you understand?
Recent polls put him ahead of the ruling party's Bola Tinubu, a former governor of Nigeria's commercial hub, Lagos, and main opposition party's Atiku Abubakar, a former vice president.
That's all in our international news. Time now for sports. The Football Association of Zambia Appeals Committee has upheld the 5-match ban of fans for Power Dynamos Football Club home matches. According to the verdict by the Appeals Committee, the 50,000 kwacha fine slapped on Power Dynamos for failing to control their fans by the disciplinary committee has been upheld. The first disciplinary committee found Power Dynamos guilty of failure to manage the crowd and banned them from admitting fans for 5 home matches. Power Dynamos received a 50,000 kwacha fine for being in breach of Article 67.1 of the disciplinary code. FASO General Secretary Adrian Kashala hopes that clubs have learned something from the recent verdicts by the judicial bodies. And on that sporting item, we come to the end of the news at 12. But before we go, let's look at some of the stories that made the news. Traders abandoned MTENDERE East Cooperative Market after UPND CADRES forcefully took over operations. Fake family planning injection lands purported medical doctor in court. In international headlines, a search underway for 50 women abducted in Burkina Faso. And Power loses appeal ban on fans during home ground matches. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Luizia Nalupombwe. Good afternoon.